But he was starting to feel like he was getting the hang of this. There was a way through to victory. He could feel it. He just had to keep running the Path of Destinies. With that, the book fluttered back to the beginning, and he fell into it. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced, or so a scholar in the mountains had told him. Surely the weapon that banished the lost gods could defeat the Emperor. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Renato had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Renato really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
There's no fourth option? Oh. Well, I haven't finished this. I haven't learned the truth from this, I guess.
Every child knew about the Sky Ripper.
Can I skip this?
The Transcendent Emperor
Guess
had
not.
buried its pieces. What could have brought them to light? This Emperor, Isengrim III, had once been kind, but he'd gone mad. And now he was conducting secret, obscene rituals to bring back the lost gods. Had he, somehow, summoned the long-lost components of the legendary weapon out of the deep places of the earth? It was more than Renato could fathom. But if he could find a legendary weapon, he would use it. As he set foot on the island, Renato couldn't help feeling a bit curious. Was Lapino still waiting to be rescued? No. He was probably drinking champagne with the ravens. Did ravens drink champagne? Did rabbits? Renato felt oddly thirsty, come to think of it. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? Renato never made plans that required constant vigilance. He was a hero. He didn't think too much. He just went with his gut and hoped it all worked out. The Sky Ripper was a long shot. He'd have to devote himself to it. No side journeys, no rescuing old friends. That was against his nature. Could he stick with it?
Oh, well, this is just gonna be just replaying this till I get to the next choice, I guess. I can do something here.
Ooh, wouldn't his gauntlet look swell with that jewel in it?
Which jewel did I get? Treasure Hunter, what does it do? Said to increase chance of rare loot by 1%. Loot. One percent is like nothing, but still.
Whee!
Ow, that nearly killed me.
Had that door been opened before?
No, pretty sure it hasn't. So tanky. I need 14,000 experience to level. It's kind of a lot.
Renato was running out of choices. Zenobia's love brought him only sorrow. His best friend was his enemy. And the Iblis stone... he shuddered. Best not to think about it. All that was left was the Sky Ripper, a weapon powered by a god's eye. So be it, then.
That last door didn't lead me to a chest.
The platform used a hybrid propulsion system fueled by anti-gravity and wishful thinking.
This also didn't lead me to a chest. Because I come from here, right? Yeah, I come from this way. Did I do this before? I feel like I might have.
Why don't you guys fight in groups? Oh, I know.
Oh,
Because there's no I in team.
ouch. I don't even need to kill them, they don't get experience or anything. Ouch.
Everything hurt. And then it didn't.
Why was that attack queued up?
Ah, a puzzle. Renato loved puzzles. Except when he couldn't figure them out. On the other hand, if there was a puzzle, it was probably meant to keep people away from something good.
Where's this go? Ah. It's like that. But then again, there's this way,
How could you convince a firewall you're its friend?
which leads to a chest, so... And it skips the puzzle as well.
Renato remembered when he'd first stolen one of these. Good times.
What does a shield break even do? Past level 1. Alright. I've got tier 4 stuff. Hook speed increased, stunning dash. Kill any enemy in a single strike. Auto activates. Oh, insta kills every enemy. Cover from being hit almost instantly and attacker is knocked down. I'm down for this.
There it was. Skyripper's armature. The stuff that dreams are made of. Engineers' dreams, anyway. The device was intricate. No one alive had the skill to make a thing like it. How was it part of a weapon at all? He'd have to ask a scientist. But first, he'd get the second piece. Skyripper had a heart. A core that had come to rest on the next island. Well, there was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her father's Raven battalions. She must be encamped there still. But fighting Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this armature, was it? He didn't need to hurry to face her. She would find him. Renato asked himself why he changed course to confront Zenobia. He'd no idea. Sometimes he would just do things, and he could never figure out why he'd done them. Usually, they worked out. After all, he was a hero. The truth is, though, he wanted to see her, wasn't it? It had been a dozen years since Swordfu School. He'd followed every rumor about her, every scrap of news. Not that he still loved her. After all, she was his enemy. No, it was solely because, know your enemy. All right, maybe he should stop pretending. He knew exactly how she felt about him. But their love affair always ended with a tragic death. Unless, maybe he could find a way to dodge tragedy. Surely he could, couldn't he?
What's with the
There he
music?
landed a claw on him.
That was weird. Never had that music before. Almost seems like I can go in there. Oh, almost
Renato
have enough
wondered if his
ores.
future self had commissioned these poles. There had to be something useful in these things, didn't there?
Yeah. There had to be. So I opened this up. I still had to go this way though. That's just gonna teleport me back out.
Ooh, sparkly, thought Renato.
Ninja on kill, level 3. Oh. I wonder what this rare drop is. It might just be a troll rune. Might look it up after.
Zenobia was leading the Imperial Ravens here. She loved to be in the vanguard, where the danger was, where she needed her wits. Renato pitied whoever she was fighting. Especially if it was him.
Treasure Hunter level 2.
Boy, if looks could kill.
Is there any reason to be here? Not really. I just go.
Renato wasn't entirely sure how he was going to capture Zenobia. She'd be expecting him. And he didn't have Lapino to cook up a clever plan. Why was it again that he hadn't got the core?
Okay, what can I upgrade? Either of them.
Now he could slice the wings off a fly in the air. Not that he would. It's sort of mean, really.
All I need is another 100 ores, and I can max out all swords. That still is the same thing, I bet.
He could sense the jewel's power. He had a feeling they were going to be great friends.
Sometimes it's kind of hard to avoid getting exploded on. I have no idea where I'm traveling to. It just kind of drags me everywhere. Guess this should be the end. Interact.
Renato slinked through Zenobia's ship, making no sound at all. Where were her guards? Finally, he reached her bedroom. She was curled up on her bed. Oh, he'd forgotten how beautiful she was. How sleek. How soft. He tapped her on the shoulder with his sword. She vanished. And he suddenly noticed he couldn't move except his mouth. In fact, soon he couldn't keep his mouth shut. He told Zenobia everything. Skyripper, the Iblistone, even where the secret rebel base was, until he was hoarse. It was some kind of truth spell. A talky truth spell. She called her father by Farspeaker Toad and filled His Majesty in. But why didn't he get the core? Croaked the Farspeaker in something like His Majesty's croak. Because I missed you, darling. Renato grinned. He doesn't even know why, frowned Zenobia. That makes no sense. It's a trap, shouted the Emperor. I'll meet you at the outpost, and I'll bring my interrogators. If Renato came face to face with the Emperor, maybe he could assassinate him. But maybe it would be smarter and safer to turn Zenobia against her father.
Renato's irrational decision to find Zenobia after collecting the Skyripper armature turned out to be a disaster, but maybe he could solve this situation. The Emperor was heading for the Nexus. Renato could attempt an assassination. He would let Zenobia take him to the Nexus, and then he would escape. He could turn Zenobia against her father. He could show her evidence of the Emperor's madness, but they would need to pay a visit to the scientist in the Nexus. He knew exactly what to say to make her listen. I'm just going to assassinate him,
she said. Somehow you're lying. The spell hadn't worn off yet. He had to tell the truth. The trick was in making sure she wouldn't believe it. The core is perfectly safe, he said. and he tried his hardest to sound sincere. So is the Iblistone. In fact, I was trying to get them myself. Fine then, interrogators it is, she said angrily. I gave you a chance. The Emperor's interrogators were not especially gentle, even by Weasel standards. Fortunately, Zenobia had locked him in the guest quarters on her ship, and she'd forgotten it had a toilet that, like all skyship toilets, could be vented into the abyss. This was not the sort of slippery fox he wanted to be. But just as they were about to land, he threw the latch, wrinkled his nose, and leapt through the open latrine.
It's a big opening, I guess.
It was a short, safe landing. At least this part of the Nexus hadn't changed too much. Zenobia had been taking him to the Imperial outpost. She'd never expect him to go there by himself. Well, maybe she would. You never knew with her. Oh, what does the fox say? Asked one raven. Another one called back, "Oh, I'm dying!" And they both laughed hysterically.
Alright. There's so many, well, a couple of references in this game, at least that I recognize.
Well, they really needed to redecorate anyway.
Alright, gotta climb the stairs again. I didn't even see. It doesn't even have an attack mark anymore. That's weird. The regular ones do.
This jewel was more than sparkly. It had arcane power and an engraving. To Cindy.
To Cindy.
Bernardo knew Zenobia, and Zenobia knew him. She'd suspected a trick. Now he'd vanished. She would probably guess that was his plan all along. Perfect. Maybe she wouldn't use the Sky Ripper. At least not without taking it to the scientists at the observatory first. Meanwhile, the Emperor would be coming to the outpost personally. This could be good.
Okay, I'll I'm actually gonna look this up. Like, right after I close this menu. Like, well, what's the point of 3%? Alright, I looked it up. So, no one knows what it's for. One developer answered, and he said it's working as intended. I don't know what that means. But it's 3%. Like, what's that gonna do? There's like no rare drops in this game from what I know. From what anyone knows. Oh, these guys are faster. That's why I don't see their exclamation mark. They just attack really fast. Oh, this is new.
Renato was face to face with the Emperor's bodyguard. They looked very tough, but the Emperor held them back.
Oh, where's my daughter?
And how would I know that? Renato grinned at him.
She lured me here so that you could kill me, didn't she?
Ah, don't be ridiculous, said Renato, trying his best to sound convincing. She loves you.
Oh, I knew it. The rabbit told me I couldn't trust her.
The Emperor hopped out the door. His phalanx of bodyguards retreated carefully. Renato heard someone call, "Arrest her!" as they left. Well, that's a job well done, thought Renato. Now the fleet would be in all sorts of disarray. But maybe he could find her in the mountains. She always used to go to the mountains to hide from the world. Maybe he could even turn her against her father. Or maybe he could reap the benefits of the chaos he had sown. It was time to report to the Rebel Council, and then launch the attack on a divided and very confused Imperial fleet.
Renato had turned a desperate situation into a golden opportunity. The Emperor did not trust any of the secrets he has spilled, and his greatest general, Zenobia, was on the run, disavowed by her father. The rebels would be fine, but what about Zenobia? Renato really wanted to gloat to her. In the past, she would go to the mountains wherever she needed time alone. Renato was sure he would find her there. It was time to return to the rebel base and launch an attack on the Imperial fleet while the enemy was confused. Let's go find Zenobia.
Renato felt very clever indeed. He'd told the Empire nothing but the truth, and now they suspected everything and everyone. So, why are you going to see Zenobia? He asked himself. It's not just a gloat, is it? No, of course not. Now, turning her against her father was good. It was very good. If she would actually join the rebels, that would be spectacular, right? That was definitely what he was doing. He wondered if he should have just told her the truth about her father. The Emperor had adopted her from a stray. That was the source of all her loyalty. But even then, he'd been dreaming of a bargain with the lost gods. They alone could make him immortal. The Emperor would have to seal that bargain with the life of someone who truly loved him. And who else truly loved the Emperor? But how could Renato tell her that now? Why would she ever believe him? These were really nice chests. You should take one home, he thought.
Oh, that's so much better for AoE.
The funny thing was, she should have trusted him. He told her the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Oh, all right. The truth was, he'd played her like a fiddle. And how often had he ever done that? She was so smart. Smarter than him, really. Those flames really bring out your eyes.
Oh, there's a level up. Ow. Oh, so many ores I need.
This is quite the view, he thought.
Oh, I didn't counter that. Oh.
Renato, smash!
Do need a bit of healing or something. Oh, there we go.
Hoped his hook didn't break.
Okay, I didn't go through this before. Not like it makes a difference. Just respawn anyways, seems like. I'm going to a place. What is this? Dear Zenobia, do you remember that expedition I have sent to the depths beneath the islands? They have returned. Well, 3 ships have returned out of the 8 I sent. Of course I mourn the losses, but the knowledge the survivors brought back is invaluable. What they experienced is incredible. The air gradually grows denser and more turbulent until it becomes a suffocating, bone-crushing thunderstorm. But the islands keep stretching for miles below the surface, and they have roots that radiate downwards far beyond sight. The islands are alive. This is the proof I was looking for. The thick air of the depths keeps them afloat, and in the depths they find their sustenance. Do they have a conscience? Are they aware of our existence? Or are we merely parasites that they ignore or tolerate? I must prepare another expedition. This time I will go myself. I need to see this wondrous world of the endless deep sky. I hope you will visit me before I leave. I would like to hear more about that new friend of yours, Renardo. Bleh. With love, Father. What, so I just open this and then close it again? Okay. That was easy. Oh. Ow. I haven't fought these guys in a while. Oh, I'm on one-shot potential. Never mind. It stopped happening.
You don't smell any better when you're dead.
2. That's Shieldbreaker level 3. Oh, I didn't check what Shieldbreaker level 3 does. Hold on, I'm gonna check that now, actually. Alright, seems like no one's ever asked this question on the levels of the Shieldbreaker. I did find a bit more information about Treasure Hunter gem, but basically people are saying it's a scrapped mechanic.
Renato had given away the location of the secret base. Fortunately, the Emperor thought it was all a trap. He even mistrusted his own daughter. Renato couldn't have done better if he'd planned it.
Like, people said it was intended for something, but it got scrapped and they left it in the game. Is what their speculation was, I guess. Don't know if it's true or not. Can't break it. Alright, what am I... Alright, I'm getting this.
What have you done to me? Zenobia demanded. My own father thinks I'm a traitor. So? But I'm loyal. So what? You're a bastard, Renato, she said. Now, you love that about me. You really did want the core, didn't you? And the Iblis stone. Yep. He gloated. You get all that? She said to the far speaker toad he'd failed to spot.
I am so relieved, my daughter,
said the far speaker. And Zenobia got into her ship and flew off. Damn it. The old far speaker trick. How had he missed it? This was very bad. Zenobia back in her father's good graces, and both of them ready to use the core and the Iblis stone. He got back on the Farfarer. Briefly, Renato thought of fleeing. The odds were surely against him. Never tell me the odds, he told himself. Odds confused him. He preferred to trust his gut. And so he sailed on to attack the fleet. Alone, if necessary.
Why is he always alone and everything?
There were not many rebels here, and they were disorganized. The Empire had obviously attacked the secret base. The formerly secret base, whose location Renato had so helpfully pinpointed on a map. There was still time to turn around, wasn't there? But Renato hated turning around. Heroes don't turn around, they just own their screw-ups and turn them into impossible victories, right? You never knew where the road would take you, thought Renato.
That should be almost the last gem. I need to get to a shop to find out.
The odd thing was, Renato's personal battle was going fairly well. The ravens immediately in front of him were no quicker or tougher than usual. Where was the power of the core, blasting him off into the abyss? And where was Zenobia? She must be up to something. But whatever it wasn't his problem. Not yet, anyway. It was all going surprisingly well.
Renato danced around the room yelling, oh yeah, that's how we do it.
Oh, okay.
It was something he liked to do, but only after he'd killed all the witnesses.
Eh. Oh, I can't change sword mid-attack. Good to know. Want my fire sword so I can start AoEing everything.
Good thing Renato didn't have vertigo.
Got a plank with me. Going back this way again. Might start just upgrading my stamina. Oh, the one-shots. It's so good. I should put a second point into that. I assume it lowers the combo count you need.
At last, he came to Zenobia and the Emperor. She was sealing up a kind of squat coffin, banded with lead.
So glad you're here.
Croaked the Emperor.
You will be witness to my final victory.
That's creepy, Dad, said Zenobia. But thank you. Because of your shenanigans, we tested the core. It's really unstable. It could have blown us all up. It could, asked Renato. Anyway, we already destroyed your secret base, so we don't need a super weapon. We're just going to bury it. Do we, torture you? Or give you a medal? Sometime later, Renato got an invitation to attend the Emperor's ritual sacrifice of his daughter. They took him out of his dungeon cell and gave him all his medals to wear. A little while after that, the lost gods returned, and the sun went black, and the Emperor ate his soul. And he hadn't learned anything new this time. He'd done the same thing twice, yet expected a different outcome.
Truth Finder will help you find the paths that lead to truth you have not found yet. Look for this icon when making choices in the book. This option can be toggled in the gameplay options menu. Okay.
There would be a way to win. Renato could feel it. He'd have to explore choices he'd never made before he could figure it all out, though. And with that, the book's pages fluttered to the beginning once again. And he fell. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Or so a scholar in the mountains had told him. Surely the weapon that banished the lost gods could defeat the Emperor. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it. To take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lupino needed rescuing. Of course, Renato had a pretty strong suspicion that Lupino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Renato really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
Doesn't help me. Said I could toggle it into options, right? There we go. That doesn't help me. Did it save it? It did. I'm gonna assume it's back here.
Every child knew about the Sky Ripper. The Transcendent Emperor had buried its pieces.
Okay, I can skip. That might help
As
a
he
bit.
set foot on the island,
Oh my
Renato
God.
couldn't help feeling a bit curious. Was Lupino still waiting to be rescued? No. He was probably drinking champagne with the ravens. Did ravens drink champagne? Did rabbits? Renato felt oddly thirsty, come to think of it. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? Renato never made plans that required constant vigilance. He was a hero. He didn't think too much. He just went with his gut and hoped it all worked out. The Sky Ripper was a long shot. He'd have to devote himself to it. No side journeys, no rescuing old friends. That was against his nature. Could he stick with it?
Wait, what? Your hits cause grunts to take damage and propel their shields like a projectile. Oh, so that's what that does now. Okay, all I need is 2 of those, and then I can't get any more gems, I guess. I can't skip this either. I still need to get the ores, so I'm gonna just take this detour.
Was always a rush.
Still need 50 more ores. That's a lot to grab. Wait, this one didn't lead to anything, right? I just skipped parts of it.
He hadn't noticed that path before.
Or did I just miss the chest? I guess.
Renato was running
Just
out of
didn't
choices.
lead anything.
Zenobia's love brought him only sorrow. His best friend was his enemy. And the Iblis stone... he shuddered. Best not to think about it. All that was left was the Sky Ripper, a weapon powered by a god's eye. So be it, then.
For a moment, Renato wished that somebody had been watching.
That's where the chest was. Where does this take me? Ah, okay. I'll just go through. Ooh, okay. Oh, there goes all my health.
Oh, you got such delicious-looking eyeballs! Called the lead, Raven. Thank you, I think, said Renato. It never hurt to be polite.
Oh, the one shot now? Cool. Yeah, I just go this way and get the last gem. I'm kind of curious what happens if I open another red chest after this.
No one could beat Renato at hot potato.
Okay, that's all the gems. Oh, there's no achievement for getting them all? Sad.
There it was. Sky Ripper's armature.
I can't skip
The
this.
stuff that dreams are made of. Engineers' dreams, anyway. The device, how
Nope,
is it
no, I
part
can't.
of a weapon at all? He'd have to ask a scientist. But first, he'd get the second piece.
That's the one I need.
Sky Ripper had a heart. A core that had come to rest on the next island. Well, there was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her
Either one
father's
works.
Raven battalions. She must be encamped there still. But fighting Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this armature, was it? He didn't need to hurry to face her. She would find him.
Alright, let's just do this one.
It was a no-brainer. He looked up at the old trees around him. They were so big and so old. They'd been there before he was born, and they'd be there after he'd passed into legend. Was he confronting his own unimportance?
Did I do this one?
What had got into him? He was no philosopher. Anyway, who cares? He was plenty important. He was a hero, and soon he'd prove it. You couldn't go sticking jewels in your gauntlet just anywhere. What if you dropped one and broke it? Luckily, there was a bench right here.
Well then, I am stuck. I'm stuck.
He looked up at the old trees around him. They were so big and so old. They'd been there before he was born, and they'd be there after he'd passed into
This
legend.
doesn't look familiar.
Was he confronting his own unimportance? What had got into him? He was no philosopher. Anyway, who cares? He was plenty important. He was a hero, and soon he'd prove it.
Dear Zenobia, the director of the Academy has told me how much he was impressed by your academic performance and leadership. Somehow I doubt this was a session of bootlicking. I have seen plenty of those. That old toad is sincere. I am proud of you, my daughter. You will make a fine empress one day. On my end, great news. Professor Calvaris has been studying the Nexus, and he made a bold observation. That toad is a true genius. You know how that island is unique, constantly changing, new crystalline formations appearing, and island fragments merging, splitting, slowly drifting, held together by some invisible threads? Professor Calvaris is convinced those changes are not random, but rather indicative of the living nature of the islands. He has observed that certain changes on the Nexus follow or sometimes precede a turbulence on another island. Landslide, quake, flood. The Nexus seems to resonate with those events. Maybe the islands are a hive mind and the Nexus is the brain. In any case, I am funding a permanent scientific observatory on the Nexus. It will attract the Empire's greatest minds with Professor Calvaris at the helm. I anticipate a great age of enlightenment for the Empire. With love, Father.
His mother had never let him wave his sword around at home. He guessed he was still compensating for that.
Okay, so side doors don't give me anything anymore. Oh, I can one shot. Being able to one shot makes it so much faster.
Sometimes, Renata really hated inanimate objects. There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time.
Pretty sure I didn't have this open before. Maybe there's a book or something. I could have made that. It's got a long cycle.
You almost never saw wild gogglers together like this. The toads had to train them not to peck each other to death. Well, these had to be imperial gogglers. That meant ravens were up ahead.
What's this? Oh. That's what that
Take
was.
a leap of faith, said the inscription.
Alright. There's a level up. These chests are only gonna give me fruits.
What's behind door number 2?
Pretty sure it's just gonna give me fruits at this point. But a lot of the
There were fewer
scrolls
and fewer trees. There were only these huge crystalline growths.
locked behind
Had
those
those been
doors.
here before? He no longer heard birds except for the feverish cawing of the ravens when they attacked. He couldn't smell the small animals of the forest, the mice and rabbits. Where had they gone? And he was getting hungry too. This was an unhealthy place to be. Oh, now you smell even worse.
Have I been here before? This does not look familiar. I mean, I should have been here. Why does this not look familiar at all? Because it isn't.
Open, says me.
What does this do? Oh yeah, combo threshold goes down by 10. I mean, I should have did this. This was the path I took the first time I went through this route, right? Everything dies so fast. Yeah, I did this.
The 20-sided core made him feel physically sick. Once he had sneaked into a temple
can't
of the
skip
dark
it.
arts, and he hadn't liked what he smelt and saw there. This felt like that. As quick as he could, he wrangled the icosahedron into the armature. The wheels began to spin, then glow. The sick feeling quickly spun away. Now he only felt sad. He carried his prize back to the Farfarer. Now he had to make his next move. There was a key Imperial outpost on the Nexus. If this really was some sort of super weapon, he could use it to wreak havoc on the enemy. And if it wasn't, well, better to know that before the final battle. But maybe he should show it to some scientists first. There was an observatory on the Nexus. Maybe he should go there before he fired it. Well, of course. If you've just assembled a weapon out of legend that can exile gods from the world, you'd want to have a scientist or two look at it. And even if they disagreed and he had time, he could ask Calaveras himself. Yes, the observatory would be his objective.
I think I should change my gems.
Why had the parts of the Sky Ripper only surfaced now, thousands of years after the Transcendent Emperor had dismantled it? The mad Emperor Isengrim had performed terrible, bloodthirsty rituals to invoke the lost gods. Was that why these ancient artifacts were rising out of the ground? How perfect, then, that the Sky Ripper would reappear to be his destruction. There was a sign. Take the goat across first.
Okay. Stony gems. Or ores. Still need 40. Ugh. I don't think I want to take that. I want to see if there's another door I might have missed further up.
You're being burned.
A legendary weapon was exactly what the rebellion needed. They were outnumbered. The once kind emperor had become a tyrant. But his ravens stayed loyal, for he fed them his victims, and the other animals were too frightened to rebel. Renato shuddered at what the Emperor was trying to do. To bring back the lost gods, the Black Harvest, the Black Sun? No. He would stop that toad, no matter what the risk. He was sort of yanking his own chain, wasn't he?
Which way did I go last time? Oh, I can only go this way. Okay.
Renato's path was clear. Let the scientists ensure the Sky Ripper was safe to use, bring it to the rebel base, and then assault the Imperial fleet for the win.
Alright, I don't need crit. Give me energy on kill, maybe.
Energy spheres. Easy to dodge, but boy do they sting if you didn't pay attention.
I don't remember this part. What? I did not have to do this. Maybe I skipped it? I'm not sure. There's no way I skipped this. I'm so confused. Why are parts being different now? Just being able to one-shot everything is so good. Good thing I went for this upgrade over anything else.
Smashing things was fun.
I really don't remember any of this for some reason.
Renato was thrilled.
Oh right,
The
this is a different
scientists
path.
seemed to think
That's why.
he put the Sky Ripper together right. But one toad was worried.
Yeah, the Sky Ripper could carve a hole in existence itself. There are invisible strings that tie the universe together. If the Sky Ripper cut one, the hole would widen and widen until our whole existence fell into it.
Another toad sighed.
Irving still believes in string theory. At least go see Calaveras.
Yeah, said the worried toad.
He knows more than anyone else has forgotten about the Transcendent Emperor.
If anyone could tell him how to use this weapon safely, it would be Calaveras. It was he who had told Renato how to find it in the first place. But maybe he had to give up on using it as a weapon. Maybe he had to go to the secret rebel base and ask the generals there what he could do with a weapon that he dared not use.
So the Sky Ripper could destroy existence itself. If there was the slightest chance that was true, Calaveras the High Sage was the final authority in legendary artifacts. If anyone could dispel Renardo's doubts, it would be him. Renato had to assume the worst and not use the Sky Ripper. Maybe he should bring it to the rebel base. Maybe there was a way to use the super weapon without using it. Let's go to Calaveras.
Well, he should have known he'd have to consult Calaveras again. The scientists at the observatory were smart enough. But what did they know of the Transcendent Emperor? He hoped it wouldn't delay him too long. The rebels had scheduled the final battle soon. Every day they delayed risked the exposure of the secret base. And some soldiers were already drifting back to their homes and families. Calaveras would fix the Sky Ripper for him, and then he would win the final battle. Maybe it was the cold, but after a few steps, Renato's optimism started to slump. What if Calaveras couldn't help? Did Renato dare use the Sky Ripper? Oh, he hated that he had chosen this path. It was so much simpler to rescue friends and attack enemies, even if some of those friends were more trouble than his enemies. Some of those enemies had been friends before and might be lovers after. Okay, it wasn't all that much simpler, no. Physics made his brain hurt. That, at least, he was sure of.
Alright, I went down there last time, but I didn't go through this. Also didn't do that top path, but I didn't do this. I do remember this.
What was really fun was hooking yourself onto a moving ship.
How far are you taking me? There's a regular chest. With nothing in it. Practically nothing. Oh, you lead me back here anyways. Alright, almost got all the ores.
It was a bit windy up here. Tried to focus on the now. The ravens who seemed everywhere all the time. Where did they hatch from? Were there giant raven hatcheries somewhere, or did they have families? Ooh, he didn't want to think about raven mummies raising their darling raven chicks. Yeah, Calvaris would help. He would make Renato feel better about using the Sky River. And then Renato wouldn't have to worry about ravens ever again.
Okay, don't think I took this path before.
Couldn't they have put in an elevator? Or a giant eagle? Or something?
Definitely did not open this door before. Unreal treasures. I don't know what that's about. Ten more, then I'll have enough.
Give me a lever, said Archimedes, and I shall open a gate. The rebels were counting on Renato. He hoped Calaveras knew what he was doing.
It still takes such a long time to go through the levels.
Calaveras had never let him down.
Yeah, of course I can make it work better.
But when Renato explained about the strings, Calaveras grew thoughtful.
Oh, strings, you say? Well, the Arcana do speak of the ties that bind the world.
He drew many intricate symbols in the dirt.
Yeah, so According to my calculations, each time you fire, I'm afraid there's a 1 in 120 chance you'll destroy the universe.
That's pretty good odds. That's like rolling, what, 21 dice and they all come up 6. What are the odds of that?
What? No! It's more like 2.716s in a row.
Anyway, with those odds, it won't happen if I use it just once.
Yeah, no, that's not right. Each time you use it... Okay, look, just don't use it ever.
All right, I guess. As he sailed away from the mountains, Bernardo could see clouds darkening. Rain? No. Ships. Imperial ships, swarming thick as bees. This was it. The big battle. They could not afford to lose this one. What if it did not go well? What if he had to use the Sky Ripper? Could he gamble the universe? On the other hand, what were the odds of rolling 21 6s in a row?
Okay, so it should be fine now.
The battle was
don't have
not
any more
going
choices.
spectacularly well. What had the rebels been thinking? They'd been thinking he would bring the Sky Ripper, or the Iblis Stone, or that he'd sideline Zenobia somehow, or turn her. Couldn't he use the Sky Ripper just once? After all, if chances were 1 in 128, that meant he'd for sure be okay the first time. They'd get worse each time he used it, but the first time would be okay, right? He wasn't sure that it was right. So he didn't fire the Sky Ripper. He just brought it along, in case.
In case. There's way too many particles to see what's happening.
See? That little color looks good on you.
Where am I? Why am I here? I need 2 more ores. Alright. There we go. Now I just need a bench. Do I even bother opening these anymore?
If they didn't want their things broken, they really ought to make them stronger.
Where am I? Ooh, I didn't open this before. Okay. That's why I go through the levels normally, as well.
Maybe I should follow my nose, thought Bernardo.
Where am I? Wait. Fight protects the seed. Never forget what you're fighting for. The Empire brings peace, prosperity, and stability to the islands. Before my grandfather brought unity, it was each animal for himself. The strong would eat the weak, and that was the only law. Rebels would destroy our great empire. They spread lies about justice and equality, and pretend that power can be shared. But justice and equality can only be achieved through an iron hand. To harshly punish crime until there is no more crime, to control everyone's wealth until there is no more greed, to crush every voice of dissent until there is harmony. These principles are the pillars that I have set for our empire. The alternative is to return to barbary. You must fight for your empire. You must protect its values. You are the first and last line of defense against darkness. You cannot fail. Fight, protect, succeed. Emperor, what's his name? His name's too long to pronounce. I don't want to pronounce it. Where am I? How do I get over there? It's a bit far for me to grab. Okay. Ah, I'm back here. Okay.
Renato had learned so much about... Ooh, what was it again?
Stop breaking stuff. Make this a bit faster.
Someone had told him the odds didn't change just because you'd had a streak of good luck. His gut told him that was wrong, though. And he always listened to his gut. On the other hand, 128 chances to win. But one of them would destroy the universe. Ooh, that seemed a bit serious. Maybe he could defeat the Emperor without firing the Sky Ripper. Maybe he could bluff, but with a real weapon. Like in cards, when you had 3 knaves, but you pretended you had a fizbin. That could work. Stay there. I'll go get the marshmallows.
It's so chaotic when I turn on fire. Well, this should be the end anyways, so hopefully. Gives a lot of experience as well. Where am I going? I'm just waiting.
He set up the Sky Ripper and let it warm up. He would bluff if he had to. Zenobia came out, flanked by a very daunting platoon of ravens. You won't actually use that, she said in that annoying, I know everything because I'm a cat and you know nothing because you're just a fox voice she had. Or I know the odds. Good, because there's a real chance you could destroy the universe. No, not the first time I use it. The odds are too low. What? No? Yeah, sure. The first time, the odds are practically nothing. They only go up if I use it a bunch more times. No, but that's not how odds work. Didn't you pay attention in class? Now surrender, or I'll use it. Just once, he said. Don't. He felt sure the odds were with him. You have to go with his gut. That's what heroes do. Fire, he said. Please? The Sky Ripper fired. With a tremendous whoosh, the Emperor's flagship went up in flames. It was awesome. And then he noticed there was a hole in the air. A blackness,
What
like a
bad luck.
tear in a parchment. Wind was blowing into it, widening it. It grew larger, and even larger. Crates fell upwards into it, and the world itself seemed bent, like the reflection on a curved mirror, as it poured into the ravenous hole. Ah, 1 in 128. What are the odds? Thought Renato, and then everything fell into the hole and was gone. He should go back to some of the choices he'd faced before. Maybe there were new paths that had opened up. Like those doors he was opening up all over the map that took him to new treasures and around his enemies. But he'd learned another true thing. The core was powerful, but dangerous if used improperly.